Spoke to somebody from EXP recently.
Yeah,
Interesting conversation. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Trying to get a little bit better understanding of the next steps to where what I should be doing. I'm actually taking some training right now. I'm not sure if you know who Lynn Crick is.
yeah, I know Len.
Yeah, I'm taking one of his training courses, so it's really cool.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I met him back, God, years ago, probably 2007, 2008. It's the first
Hmm,
time I met him. He was one of my instructors for IBBA, maybe
really?
10 to 20, something like that. Yeah, yeah,
That is
back in the
so
day
cool. That is
when I
so
was trying, I was new in the business and I was going after all the education to try and get my CBI.
That sounds like I'm back in the day for you, so I'm in the exact same place. It's so great to connect with well-rounded people for sure. It's definitely helpful.
Yeah, no, Len's a great guy. And then now he's got a quick start program that he sells to help brokers get going. And so that's awesome.
I'm in his program actually. That's
Okay,
how I
good.
got affiliated with him. So it's definitely past the first module. Now I'm waiting to or fat past the first two modules. Now I'm waiting to pass the third. So it's just trying to get everything organized and situated. I know I mentioned this a little earlier. I did talk with a representative from EXP. They mentioned, a few different things. Number one, that not having a real estate license isn't going to automatically disqualify me, but they would need me to be a member of the IBBA. And the gentleman I spoke with, I think he's in charge of like Texas and I forget which other state that he recommended that I speak to you. Maybe, maybe you'll be able to have some insights into the questions I asked him was specifically like in regards to having a real estate license.
Mhm.
I know in some states, obviously I'm not going to be able to work as a broker, but in the state of Texas, apparently I'll still need to get like a real estate license in order to handle either the assignment of the lease or
Yeah.
the sale of the land or sale of the real estate. So that's what I was wondering from you, and this is kind of why I wanted to cover that preemptively. What would that? It, w- I kind of got an idea of what I should pay them. Would that be like out of the total commissions, like they said usually? I think Lynn said this as well. He said pay them about half of the commissions that they would have got. So if it was like a 6% commission off the sale, have them take a 3% commission, and if there's like a 3% commission, have them for an assignment to the lease, have them take like a 1.5% commission. I'd kind of like to understand like what's your opinion? Would you be able to help me clarify or understand some of these numbers, or just get your overall viewpoint on that? If I don't have a real estate license, what should the appropriate commission for the real estate agent be? From our end.
Yeah. So if you, first of all, you know, when we're selling a business, oftentimes the buyers and sellers handle the lease assignment themselves
Mm,
because the landlord, the property owner has already paid a real estate broker for that lease, so they're not going to pay again.
yeah.
And so typically what I do is I'll just have a buyer put together a package. If there's a lease that needs to be assigned, I'll tell the buyer, put together a cover letter, what your plan is for the business, kind of an introductory type letter, who you are, what your background is, what your plans are for the business, run your own credit report, put that package together along with a request for whatever lease. We do have oftentimes they're just requesting a lease assignment, but sometimes if let's say the lease is going to be up in 8 months,
Mm-hmm.
so They're not only requesting, rather than an assignment, they just want a new lease. So I'll say, put together what the lease terms are that you want. They already have a copy of the existing lease because we provide that to them from the seller. And then
Yes.
once they put that package together, normally the seller has a decent relationship with the property manager or the landlord, right? And so we have the seller contact the property manager or landlord and then submit the buyer's package that way. So
Okay.
it's, I mean, from a business broker standpoint, if it's a straight lease assignment or if the buyer wants a new lease, oftentimes I'm not involved in that process.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect.
Um,
That's what I thought, but I just doesn't, I wasn't sure, and I heard, I contacted EXP. They said it just probably you'd probably be, and the gentleman knew you by name, so that's awesome to also.
yeah. So what I can say though is let's say the buyer wants you or wants somebody to help them negotiate a new lease. Let's say they
Mhm.
need a new lease, and they want that help. Then what you do is you refer it. I mean, because you're not licensed, so you can't take it on. So you're referring it, you're bringing in a commercial agent and you're referring that to them. And you're saying, look, I mean, basically, you're collecting a referral fee. You're not entitled to half of the fee. They're going to have to do the negotiation and do the work and all of that. So, but you are entitled to a referral fee.
Okay. I actually didn't know that I would be entitled to a referral fee. That's awesome. To understand that. Is that kind of what I know you mentioned Fast Start. I'm on that program. He mentioned in Fast Start, but he wasn't specific. He said charge them 50% or have pay them 50% of what that would be. I don't know how I might have misunderstood that part, but can you kind of like help me understand what that would that referral fee be 50% of the total you know
Well,
s-
you wouldn't be paying them anything on the lease because you're not going to be receiving a commission on the lease
mm,
because you're not licensed, so you can't.
yeah.
Okay, so the way that works is that you bring the commercial broker in. The commercial broker, if they're going to handle the lease, is going to have a representation agreement with either the buyer, a tenant rep agreement, right? If the buyer is the one that wants that representation, um, which is typically in a business transaction, that's typically how it would go. So it's the buyer that wants the new lease or whatever. So you're going to, bring in a commercial agent to handle that, and they're going to have a contract between themselves and the buyer. And the only thing that you might have a referral fee agreement between yourself and the commercial broker,
Hmm.
but that would be it. And you might want to bring them in, and depending on the the buyer may not want to pay a fee, which happens sometimes. Buyers, you know, they look at things as being real estate, residential real estate, and for a lot of years, it was the seller would pay the seller's broker, and then the seller's broker would split that fee with a buyer's agent. And so that's different. My understanding is that's a little bit different in commercial. It's very different in business, but it still occurs. And so buyers don't necessarily want to pay their own representation.
Yeah.
So that's a negotiation that needs to happen between the commercial agent that you bring in, the buyer. You need, if you're working with the buyer on as part of the business transaction, and they are telling you that they want representation to negotiate a new lease, then the conversation I have with them is, okay, I'm not a tenant rep, that's not my expertise, let's get you a tenant rep.
Mm,
You're going to need to pay their fee, but let's get you the representation that you need. It's just kind of like referring them to an attorney or to a CPA or something. You're not going to pay that attorney's fees or the CPA's fees. So you're not going to pay this other commercial agent either.
Mm-hmm.
That
Okay.
agent is going to have their own agreement with the client, put that
Okay.
in place.
I appreciate that clarification. Um, I'm sorry, Diane. Last
Oh,
question.
that's okay. That's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. No, no.
If you don't mind, Tanya, I know that the IBBA does like they do mentorships. Are you I know you mentioned your mentor previously. Is that only for California or is that for other states too? And do you have room for additional mentees?
Yeah, I mean, I am a mentor within EXP Commercial,
Oh yeah.
and so I do. I have mentees all over the country.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, it's not a problem. If you are with EXP Commercial, then yeah, happy to have you join the mentor program.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Spoke